Right, we're off. So, thank you very much, Keith, for giving up some time tonight. Um, what we're hoping to get from this evening is people get an idea of Wyrley, as they are the biggest club in the county, one of our community charter standing clubs that's also now involved in the club improvement programme, with the biggest clubs in the country. And I know that it's a lot of clubs' ambitions to work towards being bigger, being more sustainable, having their own base. So just want to explore that with Wyrley, how you kind of got there. So if you want to just tell us a bit about the club, really.
Okay, club's been going for 39 years. It was sort of a two-team club for probably 15, 16 of those years. Just limping along. Team got to under 16s and the new under 10s created, then under 16s and the new under 10s. The growth started probably in 1998 when we set up a soccer school, and that we were then attracting boys aged 6 and 7. As the years went by and age groups became lower and lower, we had 4 and 5-year-olds join us. We created probably 3 or 4 teams each year from then. In the year 2000, we set up our girls' academy. We did call it an academy then. And from there, we created at least 2 teams a year. We think we're now the 3rd biggest girls' club in the country. In terms of players, probably the biggest, but in terms of teams, we think we're the 3rd biggest. So limping along for the first 15, 16 years, boys' academy started the growth. We mirrored that on the girls' side, and we just got bigger and bigger and bigger each year. The ambition from probably 2000 was to have our own base, and we spent the next 11 years, 1, finding a site, 2, agreeing a lease, 3, getting planning permission twice, and then 4, the main issue is getting the funding. But it took a lot of perseverance. Teams who started with us at, say, under 7s, under 8s, who heard the plan to set up our own site, were under 16s, under 17s, and finished their football journey by the time we brought the site to fruition. So it took a lot of effort to get it in place. It's now up and running, has been for 9 years, and we've got plans for a second site where, again, the planning's in place. It's just the funding which we're awaiting answers on. Clearly, the current crisis is impacted upon that as well, which I can touch on later if you want to.
How long have you been involved in the club? When did you join?
My eldest lad is 36 and he joined at the age of 9, so 27 years. So like most of us, we started in the game because of our children wanting to play. After 3 years, I was chairman, and there's a bit of a story around that as well. When I was there, I was treasurer because of my job. I was given the role of treasurer of my boys' team. And we used to have a meeting once a month at the local pub, the White Horse pub in Cheslin Hay, and every manager of the team was then on the committee. There was no constitution, but that's how it was. If you were a manager, you were on the committee. I used to attend those meetings, and the vice chairman, this is going back 24 years ago, resigned through work issues, and I was nominated to be vice chairman, passed through on the nod. And within 3 weeks, the chairman decided to move house to Nuneaton. So within the space of a month, I was just a treasurer of a team to chairman, and then trying to get rid of a role like that is difficult. And for the last 24 years, I've been voted in. But I wouldn't do it unless I didn't enjoy it. So I've been there for 27 years, chairman for 24.
So, you mentioned your committee. How has the committee changed over the years, and what does it look like now as the committee's got bigger? As the number of teams has grown within the club, how's your committee structured? What does it look like? What are the different roles within it?
We've got the 4 main roles, which is chairman, vice chairman, treasurer, and secretary. And then we've got 3 representatives of the 3 arms of the club. So we've got a female section representative, and he manages an under-17s girls team and one of our soccer mums teams. Then we've got a mini soccer representative, and that's the guy who looks after already a mini soccer team. And then we have an 11-a-side boys representative, and the guy who's in role now at the moment runs an under-18s team and will carry on to under-19s next year. So we have 3 arms, all representative, and feed into us. and they've each got their WhatsApp groups to raise any issues. They're in regular contact with the teams. Beneath that, we have a couple of fundraising officials whose role is to get money in for us, clearly. And we've got lots of volunteers beneath that as well. We're quite proud of our youth committee, which I know you've had an involvement with as well. Their role is to organise events for junior teams within the club, and their structure mirrors the main club meeting as well. So the main club committee as well. So there's 7 officials, again, each mirroring the main committee. And their role is to organise events, raise money, and do things for the younger teams.
Yeah, I think the youth committee is moving forward from our perspective as well. It's going to be really important because everything, but the majority of things we do in football, youth football, is all aimed for the kids and their enjoyment. So how often do we ask the kids whether they actually enjoy what we're putting on? We assume they do because they come back every week. But there are tweaks that we could make that could make it a little bit more enjoyable for them, and it could also make them trust us a little bit more, which is kind of the main reason behind it all, is to say if they trust us, they're going to tell us safeguarding issues. And that's something that's been brought home to us as a county, that you're doing as a club at the moment. So it's something that we're really keen on all clubs kind of. I know there's other clubs that are looking to do it. Lichfield have done quite a bit. Eccleshall Eagles have done quite a bit. Madeley White Star as well in the north of the county that have all got, and League Town, trying to get something off the ground just to hear those views from the kids. That's really good. So you mentioned on your committee as well about fundraisers. So what kind of activities do you do for your main fundraising?
Our main efforts at the moment are to develop another site. So we've got 100 Club, which is for 100 businesses to pay 100 quid. For that, they get advertising on the club website and the Facebook page and a permanent name on the building when it's built. So we have people searching out for businesses for that. We've also got our new site divvied up into 1,500 plots. They're virtual plots, and parents can buy a plot in their child's name or in their own name, and that's £10 a time. So they're out there getting those plots sold. We've also got one chap who's selling advertising space on boards around the main pitch at Long Lane as well. That's their key roles at the moment.
Oh, excellent. And so with the fundraising, and you obviously got other avenues and things coming in. How's the club? You mentioned about the committee structure. How's it structured from a legal perspective? That's something we're really keen with our clubs at the moment, is sort of long-term sustainability and protecting our volunteers. So you've mentioned that you've got the 4 different arms of your kind of footballing side. How does it work from a legal perspective, and when did you go through that process, and who helped you?
Okay, we set ourselves up as a charity in 2003. So it's a registered charity with England and Wales Charities Commission. We did that ourselves. We didn't involve any legal bodies to cut down costs, basically. And it was a 4-month process backwards and forwards to the Charities Commission, but they were very helpful. I'm not knocking them, but they wanted things done right, as we did as well. And within the Constitution, it does say that we've got 7 committee members, and they're the exact 7 as I've detailed to you. Beneath the charity, we've also got a trading company, a limited company, because we've got a bar at our Long Lane site, and a charitable aim can't be to operate a bar. So we've got a limited company, and the shareholders of that limited company are Wyrley Juniors Charity. And the 7 directors of that limited company just happen to be the trustees of the charity, i.e. the committee. So everything that we do, we've got charity, club, charity, and the directors of the trading company. They're all the same officials.
What was the reason? There are a number of different routes you can go down for the legal. Why did you choose the charity route? Because sometimes it can be a bit foreboding for some people, the amount of work that you have to do. So why did you go down that route? Why did you persevere with that?
Number of reasons. If I was prospective parents looking around a number of clubs, and I knew one was a registered charity, therefore it had its accounts audited, it should follow laid down procedures, do an annual return, that would hopefully give me more comfort than looking at another club that isn't a charity. That's one reason. Second reason is gift aid. So, for example, any donations to the club, we can send off a return for gift aid, which I do probably once every 2 months, and we can claim 25% in the pound back on any donation. And that's probably worth to us about £10,000 a year. It's a major reason why. And the other reason, if we're applying for grants, major grants, the fact you're a charity is a tick in the right box for us as well.
So how you mentioned there's Long Lane and you're looking at Harrison's as well. How does your income from subscriptions pay for the football and then the fundraising goes towards the sites? Is that how it works, or is there a percentage of subscriptions that's put into a pot for a rainy day? Like now.
The way we operate our club is each team operates its own bank account, but it's a bank account controlled by the club. So if under 10s Panthers wants to have 4 discos a year and raise £4,000 from it, we say, well done, you put the effort in, you can spend it as you want to. But the proceeds from that disco would have to go into the team account so that we can show to the Charities Commission that the income's come in, and we can also show on the other side through checkbook stubs or through internet payments where the money's gone to as well. So we have a main account where teams pay the club, if you like, a franchise fee for being part of the club. For each of the teams, they charge what they want to their parents. So, for example, a team that's in the Girls' League, County League, will probably pay less per parent than a team that's in the MJPL, where the fees are higher, the referees' fees are higher, the pitch hire is more expensive. So we don't set a set fee. We don't keep those monies. We just let the teams collect them wherever they want to collect. It has to go through a team bank account, and then we cross-charge the team's set amount, depending on whether the 5-a-side team, 7-a-side team, etc., and they pay that to the club. Some pay it in a lump sum at the start of the year, but others will pay us 8 separate amounts. We charge no interest on it, but we pay all the fees that are required up front, and then the teams pay us back over the season.
So that's obviously evolved as the club's got bigger. So I guess it wasn't that when it first started. So what? So they how does it work? What does their money, the franchise money to the club? What do they get for that lump sum of money?
We're a registered charity, so you can look at our bank accounts. Sorry, you can look at our annual return if you want to, and without giving anything away, our balances on the main club account rarely go above £10,000. Okay? All our fundraising efforts, separate to the day-to-day running of the club, are in a separate account where we're acquiring monies to develop our second site. The main club account is just there to meet ongoing expenses, and we don't rip teams off. We cover their league fees, their affiliation fees, their insurances, their end-of-season trophies, which the club gives each team, and we organise all that for them. The only difference within any of that would be what size team they are. So, for example, if it's an 11-a-side team, we pay more insurance fees, so we charge them a little bit more. We also build into it coaching course costs, because clearly that's got to come from somewhere. So it's fair to say, and I'll say to any team, if you're a brand new team, you benefit because your fees will include a level 1 course. If you're a team that's been with us for 10 years, you are probably subsidising the new teams coming through with their course fees. But the money's got to come from somewhere.
No, it's fair. So they get, so you sort out all of the not so fun stuff really then, the league affiliations, the county affair affiliations. Do you do I'm guessing the admin for the league goes direct to the team manager?
No, we do all that for them.
You do that as well? So they're getting quite a chunk for their money then, aren't they?
They are, yeah. So,
and obviously you've got a partnership with Nike as well, so they get discounted kits through Nike.
They get a 25% discount and they get 11% kickback at the end of the 12 months as well.
Right.
A club shop designated for that, so any kit orders go through that. And then we've got a kit manager who signs that off.
So as the club's grown, what have been the main challenges as you've gone from that 2 teams to how many teams you're on now? 80?
66 playing teams. Well, they were playing up till about a month ago. 66 playing teams, and then we've got wildcat centres, goalkeeping centres, etc., and soccer mum centres on top of that as well. So actual playing numbers 900, actual teams 66, actual playing centres probably 71, 72.
So how's it got? What challenges have you faced? How's it changed as you've got bigger and bigger? What are the main challenges that you've faced?
You're a nice guy, Danny, and I'm an even better nice guy. I'm a nicer guy. It's all about relationships. I know you because I speak to you regularly. The issue is always to try and keep those 66 managers bought into the club, but we can't see them all. And when we don't see them, that's when we know there's probably a problem. So the issue is about communication, which is key in any organisation. So how do we do that? Could be your next question.
Yeah, did you have code of conduct or anything like that you make in a club from a club? Obviously, as a charter on the club, you'll have our code of conduct. Do you add to that from a perspective for what we expect from them?
No, we adapt fully the FA policies in total.
Right.
And they're published on our website, and managers are reminded that each year. So the challenge on the communication side is through lots of WhatsApp groups. And we have a main one for all managers as well. Lots of Facebook Messenger groups, the website, and the club Facebook page is massive as well. That's used. Each of the 3 section heads will get in touch with managers we feel need to get in touch with, where we haven't seen them for a while, to see if there's an issue or not. The recent crisis we're going through now has been an ideal opportunity for us to get in touch with everybody, really. One, to say, we're here. Secondly, how are you? And thirdly, if you've got any issues football-wise, just remember that we are as well.
And what's been the general sort of feelings you've had from managers? With the survey from the county perspective, and we got a bit of a gist of what people are feeling. We've done quite with leagues, we've done a little with clubs on a more of a one-to-one basis. So what have you heard from your managers at the main issues that they're facing?
In the current crisis?
Yeah, now.
Yeah, no. Simple things like some parents are struggling financially. Do they need to pay monthly fees still? And as I mentioned before, those monthly fees go to the team, they don't come to the club. So it isn't a club issue, it's a team issue, which is why they're asking the question. Some teams will, if they're under 16s and have been going for many years, and because of the way we insist on standing orders being paid to pay subs, they may have a pot of money. New teams, under 7s, will not, because they're a brand new team, and we've only been going 6 months out of the 8. So we will say, well, all we need is the £40 a month to cover the fees we've paid out, because you've got no more expenses to pay. There's no training costs, referees costs. We would suggest you massively cut back the monthly standing order fee just to cover £40 a month if you've got to pay it still. Teams with money will have paid the annual subs to the club straight away, and they can just cut the money off, cut the subs off that parents have to pay straight away as well. They're the main issues that we've had. Other issues are that some are being pressed by leagues to say, where's your home ground next season? And we can't tell them because the way we operate our club, we can't give them a pitch at Harrison's or Long Lane without knowing who wants a pitch in the first instance. If we're not going to give them a pitch, we don't just say, sorry, you haven't got one. We try and find an alternative for them. So we'll say, we can't give you a pitch at Long Lane, but we can give you a pitch at X, Y, and Z schools. Here's the costs that are awaiting your call. Meet them and get on with it. So we're at that stage where in a normal season we'd be doing that now, but we can't give them any answers because schools aren't there, leisure centres are closed down. So it's very much in limbo for us and the managers as well.
It's something that we've tried to work with leagues on. We've had a couple of meetings with all of our staff's leagues, and they have been quite receptive. And you've seen some of the things that have come out from the leagues, like the Girls' League, halving their costs for next season. I know the Water League are cheap anyway. The Litchfield League looked at doing stuff as well, as other mid-staffs from a junior perspective from our leagues. And the other things you spoke about are things like try and hold back on an application form as such. Maybe do an expression of interest, but don't make people commit, because Richard Webb from Litchfield City is on our account, and he says he's finding it difficult to ask teams if they're running next season because he doesn't want to pester people. There's people losing their jobs, and he doesn't want to say, how many players you got for next season, want to enter the league. So we're trying to ask our leagues to be sympathetic, and they are being, and the adult leagues are as well, are being good financially. A lot of them have said we're not going to ask for any money until the ball's been kicked. I know the Potteries Junior Youth League in the north of the county have said 4 weeks after we've started, we'll ask for some money then, but we're not going to ask for anything in line with the normal calendar. So that's from a team perspective. How's it affecting you from a club perspective?
Having our own ground is fantastic when you've got people hiring it and it's been used for football and the pitches are all in use and it's a lovely sunny day and there's a bit of rain for the pitches as well. When there's no football and we've had to cancel functions, there's no income coming in. We've still got electricity, we've still got gas, we've still got CCTV, we've still got alarm systems, we've still got female hygiene costs, we've still got bin costs, water to pay. So those bills are still there, but we've got no income coming in. And we've also got our only full-time or paid member of staff. She's our bar manager, so we've had to furlough her, as you've done in your offices as well. So we've kept her position open. What is the process of getting that 80% through? Still looking to find out exactly how that works. We've applied for a grant because our rateable value is above 15,000. So we've applied for a grant from the district council, the government-backed grant of 25k. We won't know until this time next week whether we're successful or not. If we're not, then we'll start having to dip into our savings account, which is there for Harrison's development. So that puts that into jeopardy potentially. So it's a massive knock-on effect all the way through.
Yeah. And what about the facility itself? You spoke before we started recording about the sort of the maintenance, what's going on, how are you currently managing your pitches and the grounds maintenance?
So we're lucky now that we've had quite a dry month or so. So the grass doesn't need cutting yet, but looking at the weather forecast, I think this time next week it'll probably be close to needing its first cut. And we've also got our fertiliser spraying guy coming in next week. Once there's a bit of rain and he's put his fertiliser on, the grass will start growing rapidly, and then we need someone to cut the grass. Our contractors who cut it, they're no longer working that operation. They've just closed it down. But we are aware of a local parish council who cuts the other site, where we're hopeful if we contact them, they'll be able to cut it for us as well.
What kind of effect do you think this will have for you as a club for the future? You mentioned you might have to dip into the savings, but how could it affect it moving forward? Do you think the challenge is possibly in 6 months' time or so?
I'm lucky in that I'm retired, so unless my pension income is affected by stock market dipping sometime in the future, then my income is guaranteed. Lots of other people aren't. So will they be willing to put their hand in a pocket to help us develop a site when we're looking to fundraise? I don't know. Unlikely. I know where my money would go to first of all. Fundraising events, sponsored walks, etc. Will they support that? Again, unlikely. I don't know. So there is a knock-on effect. We are awaiting on a number of grant applications to come through, which we're fairly confident of. We've got to find our own chunk of money. Now, again, our contractor has to be on site across the next 2 or 3 months. Has to, because of the running out of our planning permission. Now, I know from speaking to a London-based solicitor that the government is being pressurised into extending planning permission expiries, because is it our fault that contractors can't go on site and lay a brick? Clearly it isn't. It's a world event. So until we know, we don't know. So that's in the background as well. If we don't get this 25k grant, which I don't know if we will or we won't, there's still the overheads to be paid, and it's got to be paid from somewhere, and it will have to come from the funds that we've got.
If we'll try and get it wrapped up before sort of 3 minutes to 8 before the applause. If you were to put yourself back into where you were when you started, sort of 2003, what would you do differently as you were growing, or is there any advice you'd give to other clubs that might be? Well, there's not many clubs at the moment that are that size. There's a lot of clubs at the moment around the 10-team mark. So if you're going from 10 to 66, what kind of how is there anything you'd do differently, or advice you'd give them?
Yeah, differently, possibly not. I might go a different route, knowing what I know now. I might do things quicker because I know people in places now. I would develop relationships with people of influence straight away, make friends with the guys at the county FA. They're not there to stop you doing things. I know that now. I'm saying it because I'm talking to you as well. But they are there to help. And if you knock on their door, that's their role. They will help you. Get in touch with local headmasters, speak to parish councillors, get them on your side, show them what you're about, let them see you in action. Speak to local PE teachers, speak to the local school sports coordinator locally. Get all these influencers on site, on board, and you will succeed. You can't do it on your own, though. If I had my time again.
Those people are key for when you've got your own site and you're needing planning permission. I'm guessing those people are key to have on board.
Very much so. Yeah.
And you did have a bit of work done as well by the FA, didn't you, which outlined the benefits to the community in a financial capacity?
Yes, that was very worthwhile. Just on a non-adult section, the value that the club provides to the community is, and the commercial sector of the community, in other words, buying kits, buying balls, etc., is over £750,000. Because we've got possibly 200 adults players, probably add on another £250,000 to that as well. So we feel the value to the local community of Wyrley Juniors, because we've got 900 players, is getting on for £1 million a year. In other words, if we weren't there, somebody would have to pay various organisations £1 million to replicate what we do.
Incredible amount of money. Finally, before we finish, where do you want the club to go in the future? You mentioned Harrison's. Where else do you think you'll get even bigger, or where would you like to get to, and what would you like to achieve over the next 5-6 years?
Yeah, if we get Harrison's ongoing, would I want to go through a third planning process? Probably not. But I'd like another organisation to develop a 3G, which we were party to. We have had lots of discussions with various organisations recently. We want to, once Harrison's is up and running, we can then concentrate on pushing our two first teams forward, because there may be a budget available then. At the moment, there isn't a budget because our money's going into developing the site first. For me, I just want every player of any ability who wants to play football the opportunity to do so. So more teams, the more we can do means more teams. So if we can get it to near the 100 mark, brilliant. That's another problem we've got, but a nice problem to have.
Wonderful. Right, well, we should all head outside and give our applause to everybody that's been working hard for us in the NHS. Thank you very much, Keith, for your time. I've no doubt we will do this again in the future. Hopefully, we'll get to play some football again soon. But thank you very much for the insight that you've given us to the club.
And thank you for all your support over the years. It is appreciated by me, definitely. And
brilliant.
Stay safe, guys.
Thanks, Keith. All right. See you soon. Bye-bye.